1, 2, 3. Line that up. This book sucks. Welcome everyone to another Reading Shitty Books with Noble. In today's video, we're actually going to be reading another book, and we're going to be continuing my suffering with another book written by the esteemed writer of our generation, Gregory James Fuckboy Jackson, also known as Cuck, or I mean, you know, self-cuck. No one is actually fucking his girlfriend slash boyfriend slash husband slash wife slash homunculus of a human being, except for his girlfriend, so yeah. But enough about the elated man-child. Today we are looking at his second book, aptly titled, This Is Why I Hate You. Should have been called This Is Why I Hate Myself. Why the fuck am I reading it? Despite what I just said in the first video about the first book that Onision wrote, there was a smell of amateuristic writing in that book. In this one, it's just kind of sort of all bullshit. It just literally straight up smells like manure. At times, when I was reading this, I thought I was reading a completely different book because of how incoherent and completely all over the place the book was. It goes everywhere and it just doesn't want to stay put no matter what. But without further ado, let's continue my the book review video. Chapter 0. The introduction. The book starts off with an introduction this time. I put the words introductions like this because I guess you could barely count it as a passable introduction. It introduces us to our character, Arthur Gale, a 17-year-old high school student. Again, I don't know what it is with Greg and underage kids that isn't obvious enough, but you get the point. This book is sorta written like a journal, just like how Konami sorta makes games, or how FIFA sorta is a game, you know? Despite the main character's name being Arthur, you might as well call the guy like Onision or Greg, because these books are literally just his fantasies, so you might as well call the guy Greg. He just literally stuffed all of his fantasies and it wasted so much oxygen from this poor defenseless tree that he made the book from. It pains my heart, ladies and gentlemen. I can handle criticism. You do realize that people just tolerate you, right, Greg? Anyways, back to the book. The book is written kind of like a journal that our main character keeps on his person at all times. Okay, a bit different idea from the Onion Man, but honestly, poor execution overall. You're gonna find out why. Wait, you wanna go outside? You wanna go outside? Sorry about that. Sorry, it's my kitty. She wants to go outside. But the book is so terribly written that this idea ultimately ends up being scrapped completely by him stating that the book is a hybrid book, with the book being half a book and half a journal. A jook. Or a burnal, I guess. In a way, this book is written way better than the other book, but that's like saying death by a bear is better than death by drowning. You know what I'm saying? The main character comes off as this fucking high and mighty-like character, right? The do no wrong type. Despite us, the readers, knowing that this book is written by a child groomer and a narcissistic asshole known as Onision, aka Banana Man. Anyways, the book starts off with our main character saying that praying is dumb, and if you pray, you're a fucking dummy. But why is our main character telling us this, Noble? Well, it's because I did some digging, and as it turns out, Greg's biological father was a priest. This is not like, I didn't really have to dig that far. It's like literally everyone knows this information already if you've been on the internet. But you can kind of see the connection, right? You kind of see why our main character hates religion, right? You gotta see that, right? But that's it for chapter 0. Let's move on to chapter 1. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 starts off with Arthur shit-talking his own house. Like, he just stands in front of his room and just starts ranting about unnecessary shit. I guess you could say that the whole book can be summarized as unnecessary shit. I was sleeping in my annoyingly well-lit room early in the morning. What the fuck does that mean? Would your character be happy sleeping in a terribly lit room with no lights? In the same paragraph, he also shit talks about eating vegetarian foods that his dad makes. despite Greg being a vegetarian in real life, or vegan, vegetarian, I don't know, I don't fucking give a shit. Actually, Greg is a vegan. Actually, Greg the vegetarian. Get that right. I don't give a shit about Greg, alright? Jerry drives me on a daily basis because he insists he loves me, and I quote, "No Linville family member will ever ride a yellow bus," as if he's a hero. What the fuck does that even mean? The same problem I had with the first book reappears in this one, and you're gonna find out. The main character has a superiority complex and an ego so fucking big, it topples the highest of mountains. I don't know if I'm on a mountain right now. I hope I am. I mean, this is Greg writing the book, so what the fuck can I expect? Think about all the people you think are morons. Now think about what percentage of those people you hate because of the things they say alone. That's exactly my point. Without verbal language, how do you start a racist, sexist, and homophobic group? I can give you a few examples of racist, sexist, and homophobic groups that started with words and continued with violence. Greg, just a few. I can give you a few examples. Commit yourself to silence. Statistically, you likely have nothing valuable to say anyway. For the next part, he brings up an example with this, with a kid that goes by the name of Chris. Apparently, the name Chris is a reoccurring thing in the Onision cinematic universe. Anyways, aside from this, he essentially calls the kid a dysfunctional, failed abortion just because he doesn't like him. Wow, holy fuck. The amount of hatred within this man's body is just, wow. His behavior is no doubt a response to his mother never paying attention to him at home, while girls at school treat him like he's a disease with legs. But the interview we got from Greg's dad a few weeks ago, this very specific line is very ironic. Oh yeah, also I wanna point out, this is a little bit nitpicky, I know, but fuck you. He spells the word behavior like a European does. You know what I'm saying? He spells it with a U in the middle, whereas in Americans don't use the U. And I don't know if this is an attempt of him trying to act smart, but if he does, then he's fucking stupid. I've noticed for some times that Chris has an adorable little neck. Now, this isn't going where you think it's going, believe me. I imagine if I wrapped my hands around his throat, using only half of my strength, I could very easily snap his neck. I am just reading a serial killer's manifesto at this point. Like, I'm not making a joke or anything. I am genuinely concerned for this kid. He's probably gonna be like a fucking school shooter or some shit. And I'm not joking about that. I'm dead fucking serious. Anyways, the rest of the chapter, he kind of like explains why he would want to avoid human conversation with any other humans as much as possible. He gives a prime example of a girl named Jessica, except he describes her in a very intriguing way. Like, the way Greg describes women in a lot of his books just makes you want to punch him. Not for being Greg. Okay, yeah, just for being Greg. He also gives what I'd like to call the most Onision description of the term princess syndrome. Princess syndrome, a snotty, self-absorbed female freak who practically craps her own pants every time she sees her reflection. Someone with princess syndrome can be found constantly treating everyone else like they owe her copious amounts of compliments and sincere gratitude for simply being allowed to exist within 50 feet of her. How is Greg, this man, able to have multiple girlfriends? Like, wow. Holy fuck, it did not hit me until now. How does he have so many girlfriends? He's actual human trash. How the fuck does he have so many girlfriends? You could say, wow, Arthur, you make fun of fat people a lot. What about your own health? Actually, I'm in great shape until I'm not. This entire book makes me want to punch Greg so hard in the face. You want to know what it's like to own a cat? Is that they will meow to get out of your room, and like I was saying, they will meow to get out of your room, but only to meow to want to get back in. But anyways, like I was saying, this book makes me want to punch Greg in the face so fucking hard till my knuckles bleed and become dust. and just keep going. Anyways, after this, he kind of goes on a rant about his dad's diet, saying, here's the thing, Dad, you're fat, not me, blah, 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 blah. We all know Greg hates his dad, but this is kind of very childish once you think about it. Also, no one kind of questioned his weight, except he brought it up himself. So that makes me think that when Greg was younger, he's kind of a fat, pudgy kid. And after all this, he says, I'm done ranting. Let's keep going with my day, despite wasting, I am not shitting you, 2 fucking pages to rant about a man's diet. What the fuck? Aside from this, Greg talks about his dad's girlfriend in a very rude way, I should put it. Also, it wouldn't be an Onision book if I didn't see a mistake in it. So let's sound the Onision mistake alarm, because woo boy, did I find a lot. The great thing about my dad's girlfriend is that most of the time she shuts up. Now, this should be most of the time, not most of the time. Take a drink for every time Greg makes a mistake in his books, and you'd be sent to the ER with Michael Jackson as your doctor. And that's how chapter 1 ends. Nothing of value. It's bad. And this is just the beginning. Hi there. Noble from another day. This is going to be a very, occurrence. This is going to be a random occurrence. I'm going to be, recording these on different days, but don't worry, it's going to be the same me. Chapter 2 starts off with the title, A Need to Breed. I want to punch something so hard. What disturbs me about this book and this title is that it's written by Greg. You know, Greg. The man who's had more relationships than Final Fantasy games. I guess you could say his relationships are way more complicated than Kingdom Hearts storylines, but yeah, I would make that joke, but, I don't feel like it's too easy. It's been weeks since I last wrote in this journal. You could assume this was due to laziness, but I rarely suffer from that degenerative disease. Thanks for giving us a timeline. This is the thing I hate about this book, is that it randomly jumps ahead a few months, a few weeks, etc., and it doesn't really give you a timeline. It just says, oh, it's been a month, or it's been a few months since I've written in this book. And that's kind of like my least favorite part about this book, is that it doesn't give you a concrete time. It doesn't give you a concrete date or anything. And the reason why is because Greg doesn't want you to date back to the day that everything happened in his real life, His books are a prime example of how not to write books. Anyways, he talks about his dead mom in this chapter, and I don't give a fuck! Seeing this woman's limp legs dangling from the side of a dumpster with garbage stains smeared down her calves would disturb me less than seeing her kiss my father. She's an invader. She's the destroyer of what little piece I had left in my own home. Okay, whoa, slow down there, Elliot Rodgers. You're just a teenager. I can't believe this is what Greg actually thinks teenagers think of. Holy fuck. Speaking of sports, I fantasize about massive weapons going off in the middle of a major sporting event. Alright, so Arthur, or Greg, would be the kind of kid that would think that what Elliot Rodgers did was justified. I'm just throwing that out there. For what purpose do people professionally play sports? I don't know. Because they like the sport? Have you ever thought about that? Greg? Maybe you didn't? That peanut brain of yours doesn't do a lot of thinking. This is evidence enough. Would you not trade your memories for a body that isn't broken? But what if you love the game so much that you're fine with pushing your bodies to the limit? And because of those injuries, you make memories from them, Greg is a galaxy-brained individual, let me tell you what. After this, Arthur says that he isn't updating his journal because of a murderous imagination, which we all know is kind of bullshit, but instead because he started dating a girl named Ashley. God bless you, Ashley. I probably could not have lasted 2 seconds in the same room as Greg without wanting to punch his face. Long story short, she likes the girl because of her looks. Personality? What's that, Greg? Greg honestly does not give a fuck about your personality or what you think of as long as you're hot, straight up. Literally, the only reason why Greg likes this girl is because his body demands he be physical with someone. That's real. That's 100% written in the goddamn book. If you couldn't tell that this book was written by a literal spoon dumpster man-child, well, Now you know. He also literally makes fun of having free will, and then uses the phrase, if I had free will, I could choose to be gay. You can't choose to be gay. You are just gay. You can't choose to be gay one day and then decide to be straight one day. It doesn't work like that, boy. I can't handle Greg and his shit-festering feces drivel book. I cannot. The next part is so egotistical that it could power a rocket ship to the exoplanet OGLE 2005 BLG 390LB, which is 21,500 light years away from Earth. Boom! You learned something new on this channel. What-town! Anyways, it's on screen. I don't want to waste my energy reading this because it's so fucking terrible. Chapter 3 starts off with our main character reflecting on the dumbest thing that he's done, which is getting into a fight. I mean, that's clearly false. The dumbest thing our main character could have done was wake up alive. Because if he didn't, the book would be over and it would make my life way more easy. The sun hadn't even risen yet. Our decrepit school was filthy and falling apart as if there were walls, as if the walls were composed of maggots-infested flesh and bones. Again, you're poor shaming your high school, Greg. I thought we went over this already. He also says cracked titles instead of cracked tiles, which is another mistake. Can we chuck that up to the Onision mistake meter? Bam, we got it right there, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, some guy named John touched his girlfriend on his hip, and Arthur just goes full Jean-Claude Van Damme mode and wants to beat his ass. Now, we know Greg, or Arthur, is essentially just Greg, so imagine this individual threatening you with the words, "You ready to hurt?" I wouldn't feel threatened, I would just laugh. Him intimidating me while wearing a black trench coat and saying the words, "You ready to hurt?" is about as threatening as a fucking wet Harry Potter book. John no doubt felt somewhat uncomfortable seeing these words come from the lips of someone who looked like me. Now, I'm pretty sure John is just uncomfortable with someone who came to school dressed like a school shooter. Also, what school lets a kid come dressed like that? Come on. Normally, I didn't wear the coat, but I wanted to make myself appear as much larger than I was. This was a strategy I learned from butterflies. Oh my fucking god. He learned it from butterflies. Oh my god. He could have said something like, he could have just said, yeah, I learned it from fucking tigers. I would have been alright. But fucking butterflies? Are you retarded? John swore at me, calling me the popular emasculating word goth kids are normally subjected to. Okay, like what? Like actually what? I don't know what you mean by that. I'm actually very stumped. I actually did research for this part to figure out what he meant, and I couldn't figure it out. Straight up. Fortunately, I punched him in his throat seconds after he spoke. Did he? What? Did Arthur just straight up fucking Ultra Instinct teleport behind John and did a fucking a crouching 2? Did he do that? I kind of gave up reading on this chapter because it was very boring and boils down to, I beat up a jock with my plot armor and that's that. That's literally the entire chapter. The principal shows up and does the responsible thing of screaming at him, but Greg thinks that this was unjustified and unfair, which we all know is fucking bullshit. He also says this, to which I am baffled at how much of an ego and how little grip on being self-aware Greg is. John can't play football this year. John's right hand won't be touching my girlfriend anymore, and John is suspended from school. If Ashley rejects me for this, it won't be crushing. There are many more women where she came from. There are many more of all of us. Okay, so first off, the first sentence, fucking horrid. Secondly, he spelled "for" wrong. And thirdly, this 30-year-old fucking dude can't spell "for" right. How are you a functioning human being in society? Overall, I gave this chapter a Last of Us 2 out of 10. It literally had me reach deep into my fucking heart to give a flying fuck about what actually is happening and finish it. Chapter 4 starts off with our main character bragging about how much he and his girlfriend made out during suspension and blah 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 blah, you know, Chad Onision, which isn't a disgusting thought to think about, but just bear with me, alright? He also answers a question like this: why are women into guys with attitude problems over the friend-zoned nice boy? And he responded with, I shit you not, because that's how it is in the animal kingdom. How is he able to impregnate a girl? How? How is this human, not even a human being, a fucking amoeba, able to fucking impregnate a human being? How? He wants to be an alpha, but he's so not, and it destroys my fucking soul. Chapter 4 is a hot pot of garbage mixed with fecal matter from 15 different animals. It's so bad that it boils down to me Arthur, me make fun of dad praying, me make fun of life, haha, me alpha, durr. That's literally chapter 4 in a nutshell, and I hope someone doesn't clip that. Arthur goes back to school and everyone looks at him suspiciously because, well, why wouldn't you look at Onision suspiciously in public? Oh no, wait, it's because he painted half of his goddamn face like a skeleton. Every other person at school has been looking at me nervously for the past few days. Today, their looks could be in response to the fact that I painted half of my face like a skeleton. There's gonna be an upcoming fight scene in this book, and this fight scene reminds me of The Matrix, except not really good because it's garbage. He gets called to the principal's office because, well, he looks like a literal shooter, and I wish I was making this up, references the Columbine shooting. Ooh, that's gotta be a big oof for me, Onision. He also said that he never killed people just because he didn't like them, which is one of the biggest lies that this book has ever told me. He literally just mentioned a few chapters ago that he wanted a bomb to go off on a major sporting event. Like, I can't even. Anyways, the principal tells him to wipe off his makeup, and he does. While making his way to the bathroom to take off his makeup, he says something. He has this existential crisis and has this monologue that only I can describe it to if Jared Leto's Joker had an origin movie. It's so cringy, and it's trying to be like just we live in a society, you know what I'm saying? It's so shocking that this book is based off of Greg's like thoughts as a teenager. I am shocked that he is able to walk around freely instead of in a straitjacket. I am just shocked, ladies and gentlemen. He also befriends a foreign kid, not because, you know, diversity or anything. Nah, he befriends them because they're quiet and because he is never, because they were the only ones he hasn't fantasized about killing yet. He also says something about being used as Ashley's butt pad for her chair. What the fuck? He also shit talks her friends because they were having conversations that were annoying him. Yes, annoying Onision. Like, just get the fuck up and go. No one needs you here. That's literally, I'm saying this is directly to Onision. No one fucking needs you here. Get the fuck out of here. He literally complains about Ashley having friends while still wearing black and doing the whole loyalty thing. I'm shocked. Ashley, you poor girl. So Greg storms away because he's a literal crybaby and didn't get what he wanted, and later gets a call from Ashley. Asks what she could do to make it up to him, to which he said, dress up like you're goth tomorrow. That's a literal quote in this fucking book. I want to die. She becomes hesitant, but eventually says okay to Greg, because we all know that Greg's a manipulator and a fucking asshole. So she comes to school. All right, the next day, she comes to school dressed in all black, and Greg is overwhelmed with her gesture of loyalty. God, Greg, you are such an unlikable guy. Like, I'm trying my hardest, but I honestly, you're just unlikable. Like, that's it. And that's the end of that chapter. Horrible. I'd rather take a syringe filled with botulinum toxins to my eyeballs than read that goddamn chapter again.
The most toxic substance known, its LD50 is tiny, at most 1 nanogram per kilogram, can kill a human.
Chapter 6. Chapter 6 starts off with Greg comparing himself to a Chad because Ashley wasn't a good lay. I shit you not, Greg. You are becoming so hard for me to like. You fucking I spat all over my fucking green screen. Like, he wasn't compelled to write about having sex with his girlfriend because he wasn't fucked to update his journal for some goddamn reason. I've been very good to her, doubt, for a while now. It's just most people see me as a freak. I wonder why. So why would she not follow suit? You essentially treat Ashley like trash. You've already manipulated her multiple ways before she could even get a sentence in. So for the next paragraph, our main character, Greg, comes to the realization that he's super generic. So you essentially manipulated a girl to have sex with you. Underage sex, by the way. I mean, it's sex, but like still. This is Greg writing about underage sex, so get the fuck off my dick. Also, I felt honored she was willing to be with me. Her standards must be very, very low if you think it's an honor to sleep with this. Also, he spells honored wrong. Chalk one up to the Onision mistake bell. Oh my god. Oh my god. The rest of the chapter is just Greg having sex with his canned bread personality of a girlfriend. Also, he says something that is eerily similar to what Ultron said. I'm not even gonna read it out for you. It's on the fucking... It's on here right now. Like, it's on here. And that's the end of that chapter. It ends very weird and very disappointing. And chapter 7 starts off with a mistake in the literal third paragraph of the chapter. There's supposed to be a comma here, Greg. Oh, Greg. Oh, Greg. I honestly can't believe this is like a 30-something-year-old man, and he has so many grammatical mistakes and grammatical errors. Like, it's just, wow. Also, he insults his dad's girlfriend a lot. Like, a disturbing amount. Also, he also makes a lot of mistakes in this sentence because there's supposed to be commas somewhere around here. He just does not use them for some fucking odd reason. If I had to describe Greg as a person, Greg is like that cum shot that should have been swallowed. Oh yeah, also in this chapter, he has a full paragraph that's literally an entire sentence long. Commas, dots, use them. So as you can see, there are multiple errors in this paragraph. I had to play English teacher with my girlfriend and find the fucking mistakes.
Hey, I'm his girlfriend. Yes, I exist. I know it's a shocker. I think me and him both lost a few brain cells while reading this. So, yeah.
It was the sudden realization that brought me to tears. I gave up, I sat on the closest curb, and cried. This sentence perfectly describes how anyone feels when they read this book. That's how it describes me when I was reading this goddamn book. There's also a part in this fucking book where he literally bicycle kicks his dad against the dashboard, kind of like Liu Kang, which I thought was bad, funny, and stupid. I don't know how he was able to get those emotions out of me in the same fucking sentence, but good on you, Greg, I guess. Oh yeah, and that's the end of chapter 7. What, did you expect my opinion of this fucking book to change? It's still fucking bad. My life is more often than not a series of tragic events, isn't it? Does Greg have a sixth sense or something? Because this is very relevant today. Principal Lehman found out I was sent to juvenile hall and used that as an excuse to expel me. No, they can't legally do that, Greg. Also, it wouldn't be a book written by Onision if there wasn't a mistake in the second paragraph of the chapter. Whoo booyah! This sentence is supposed to be, I warned your son what would happen, but Greg just lacks a few brain cells. Whoops, what's that? Another mistake? The dish of curse was vegetarian. But wait, there's more! You thought we were done with the fucking mistakes. You're fucking wrong. Sorry about that. My camera just turned off. So it's probably a blank screen for a second there. Appetite. Supposed to be spelled like this. Oh boy, Greg. This was supposed to be appetite with 2 P's. Not 1, because 1 P means appetite as in the mineral. Chapter 8 also gave us this clusterfuck of a sentence. Get ready. You may say, but Arthur, I thought you were always motivated. Insert additional idiotic comment. I'm stupid and should shut up. You're right, you should shut up. What the fuck was that sentence? What the fuck did I just read? I felt stupid reading that shit. I can't believe he actually wrote that. Oh my god. Oh my god. I felt like years of my life have gone. Chapter 10 starts off with the title Failure to Perform, which could just summarize Onision as a person. It also starts off with him saying that it's been a month since he went through basic training, which is irrelevant and kind of unnecessary because he doesn't give any dates. So we have literally no date. So thank you, fucking idiot. He also shit talks a random roommate of his for literal no reason, like absolutely no reason at all. He just shit talks his roommate, which is kind of a asshole thing to do, but it's Onision, so I mean, of course. He's also from Minnesota as well, which is kind of irrelevant information, but I just wanted to point that out. My roommate, Airman Taylor, is obsessed with country music despite being from Minnesota. What the fuck does that matter? You could be from fucking, I don't know, fucking India and like rock music. It doesn't fucking matter, Onision. Also shit talks country music, which is my second favorite genre right next to jazz. So fuck off, Onision. I have an extra initiative now to hate you, if I didn't before. I bet if you offered my roommates $100 million to smother me in my sleep, he'd have it done the first chance he got. No, Greg, I'm pretty sure he would have done it for free. I would have done it for free. When you create a closet and tell people if they hide their darker traits in it, everyone will accept it. You're going to have a full closet. Oh my god, that's so fucking edgy. I'm fucking crawling in my skin, Onision! I don't know who the fuck reads these books and actually thinks this is good edgy. Like, this is not. Now, for the next part, he was able to call Ashley. Ashley. Yeah, you guys know Ashley, right? You know, that girl that didn't want anything to do with Greg because he's Greg. Well, the conversation kind of went something like this. Regardless, I was able to call Ashley. Our conversations kind of went like this. Hey Ashley, it's Arthur, I said in a hopeful voice. Ashley replied, who? Ashley, you's a fucking savage, man. Anyway, the rest of the conversation between them served literally nothing of value and was completely pointless. Kind of like this whole book, but I digress. And before I end this chapter, he ends it off with this sentence. I will never stand by and watch someone become a victim again. That's some fresh bullshit right there. Ladies and gentlemen, that's some fresh bullshit coming from the man himself, Banana Man. Chapter 11 is titled In Hell with an Angel, and it's so fucking edgy that I almost cut myself just so I don't have to read this fucking book. So chapter 11 starts off with our main character falling in love with a girl named Corey Jeffries, or Airman Corey. He also went through suicide prevention courses and uses this to boost his ego even fucking more, to fillet his own fucking dick. And how great he is at helping people and blah, 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 fucking blah. We all know this ain't true. In the training event, each airman was called up to stand next to a projector with their dummy guns to observe the screen. This felt a lot like playing a video game like Time Crisis in the arcades. Jesus Christ. Do kids even remember what Time Crisis is, Greg? Holy fuck. I barely know what Time Crisis is and I'm 21. Jesus Christ, could you imagine kids that actually read your fucking book? Do you actually think they know what the fuck Time Crisis is? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, Greg, you old fuck. I quickly said, sir, you have so much to live for. Please don't do this. We want to help you. Hearing this, Corey then chimed in, please put down the gun. It'll be okay. I heard Sergeant Mason click away yet again. The man then said, I have nothing to live for. I'm gonna do it. I felt slightly offended. The computer didn't register what I... Why the fuck would you be offended by a fucking computer? Why the fuck? I felt slightly offended the computer didn't register what I just said, but it wasn't state-of-the-art equipment, so what can you do? I don't fucking know. You can't do anything. It's just a computer. The fuck? The man then said, okay, I'm putting down the gun. And with that, we were the first 2 people out of the 14 or so that went before us to actually save the digital character. This is a video game, Greg. This is a fucking video game, Greg. If you die in the game, you die in real life. Fucking Sword Art Online. Also, the way he talks to someone who's literally about to Kurt Cobain himself is so fucking stupid. Like, read this and tell me, oh yeah, this is gonna help a suicidal man put the gun down. We were sitting in my dorm room the other day. How old are you, Arthur? Corey asked. I'm 18. I said I would have mentioned turning 18 earlier, but birthdays are pretty irrelevant to me. Yeah, because you didn't want to give us dates, so fuck us, I guess. Why should I celebrate being 1 year closer to death? Corey smiled and replied, well, I just turned 17. FBI, open up! Oh, Greg. Greg, I hate you. I hate you with a passion. Oh, Greg. Holy fuck. Now, before I end this chapter, here is a literal quote from this book written by the Onion Boy himself. I feel like a lit match. When I'm surrounded by light, I'm worthless. In the dark, I thrive. It's so fucking edgy and so unnecessary for this fucking book. Like, this guy, I don't understand what's going through his mind when he writes books. I seriously don't. Chapter 12 is titled Designed to Fail, which could aptly describe Onision's relationship and or YouTube career. I was so sick of this trainer, Sergeant Cassava, prancing around like she owned the place. That's because she's a sergeant, you absolute malnourished BTS member. The amount of anger I felt for a baby-faced daddy's girl like Sergeant Cassava insulting everyone in the flight is in such a disrespectful way overrode every social precaution I had. I stood in the middle of our formation. Every word she spoke added to my rage till I finally screamed, Sergeant Cassava, you just violated the UCMG. So, he speaks about the rules that the sergeant just violated, which was that she was not authorized to use language that emasculates airmen. I spent a good 45 minutes, I'm not fucking lying, a good 45 minutes looking for the article that he's referencing to in this book. And I couldn't find it anywhere. Wanna know why? Because it doesn't fucking exist. I'm pretty sure everything in this fucking book is a fabrication of what Greg thinks should have happened, but never did, because it's fucking Greg. He also has this thought about wanting to kill his sergeants after getting shouted at once. And it's insane how psychotic this 18-year-old kid is. Like, he wants to kill his sergeant for doing their job. It's insane. Oh yeah, he also spells aloud wrong. Can we chalk that up to the Onision mistake meter, please? Jesus Christ. What's worse is that it should have been out loud. The word out loud would have made much more sense in this fucking sentence, but it didn't. You want to know why? Because Greg didn't finish fucking high school because he's a fucking idiot. After this, Arthur gets yelled at because why wouldn't you yell at it? It's fucking Onision. He's a fucking train wreck. And that's how chapter 12 ends. With Greg's character being wrongfully punished by the system and the man. It's such a dumb chapter, and it gets even dumber later. Chapter 13 is aptly titled A Coward's Way Out, which is also what Onision took when Chris Hansen showed up to his door. Oh man, what a coward's way out, am I right? In this chapter, he fantasizes about wanting to have a relationship with Corey, and that feeling is further enhanced by the fact that they're both stationed in the same place, Oklahoma. Or as Greg likes to put it as, a crap-infested brown ghetto of a state. Again, Greg hits us with the light racism. Do I think Onision's a racist? Probably. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you can't change my mind. Also, as a side note, the way Greg describes having a relationship and how it works really bothers me and raises a red flag how fast he wants to get inside the pants of a 17-year-old kid. A just turned 17-year-old kid. It fucking raises so many red flags, dude. Oh yeah, he also masturbates to her. Well, the thought of her, I should say, which is weird, but hey, go off, I guess. I would make a move, but there's just something that screams for me not to. Huh. So he does have a conscience. Good to know. In the military, if you get pregnant, they say you not only lose your ability to be deployed, but also can be elected to separate from the military entirely. We all know the military isn't just something you can just quit on a whim. You sign a contract when you join that you're legally bound to. What this means is there are likely thousands of babies out there who literally exist because mommy simply got tired of serving her country. Jesus Christ, Greg, you're a fucking piece of shit. Kids are not tools you use to get out of your obligations. Eugh, that one didn't age so well, huh, Greg? Sadly, this is the side effect of giving good people reasonable options. Screwed up people take advantage of those options and abuse them. Okay, so I'm gonna cut you guys some slack with this chapter and give y'all one sentence summary of this entire chapter. Or the rest of this chapter, really. Arthur doesn't get poontang from Corey and goes to South Korea. The end. Chapter 14 is called The Wrong Move, which is what Greg's parents did when they decided to have Greg instead of leave him in a dumpster somewhere. But this chapter is all about drama, inner conflict, and sexual tension between Greg and Corey, and how they resolve. Nope, it's just about Corey rejecting Greg's kiss and him getting sad. That's it. Chapter 15 is titled Death to Your Wingman, which has so much edge in it. I'm surprised it did not kill me. Unfortunately, since the last time I updated this journal, my life has been saturated with tragedy. I'm sorry, I just had to laugh at how fucking pathetic Greg is when he writes shit like this. Quick, what's the name of Ashley's brother? Wrong! I'll give you a hint. Dead. Yeah, this chapter starts off with Ashley, Arthur's ex, calling him to tell him that her brother that was mentioned once during this fucking book died in a school shooting. I'm beginning to see a pattern here with Onision and his books that I don't like, you know, involving a lot of school shootings. I don't like that. All I'm saying is keep Greg as far away from schools as possible. I'm just saying that. After this, he asks Ashley if he can come home to comfort her, and she says yes, to which Arthur requests an emergency leave. Which we all know is bullshit because IRL Greg was thrown out of the military. Thought I had a sneeze there for a second. Oh yeah, y'all remember how loyal Arthur is to Corey, how much he loves her? Yeah, no, Arthur bangs Ashley. Yeah. Arthur bangs Ashley as soon as Corey is out of his dick strike zone. He likes both Ashley and Corey, and then goes back to South Korea. I don't fucking understand this human being, this pile of shit. I love Corey, I love Ashley, and neither one of them wants to date me. I honestly forgot he wrote this. It's so pathetic. When we hugged and said goodbye, she went to kiss me, so I seized the opportunity. As she leaned in quickly, I turned my head at perfect time so her lips would connect with mine. That act resulted in me getting slapped in the face, but it was so worth it. Was it, Greg? Was it worth it? I'm pretty sure Corey just wanted to kiss you on the cheek, and that's why you got slapped. You fucking doofus. I arrived in South Korea during the summer, so it was incredibly hot and humid. It's strange seeing mostly only people with black hair walking around. I never really thought about how diverse America was till I left it. Maybe I've been stupid to not think outside my own little culture more than I have. Greg, oh, how stupid and idiotic you are. This has to be satire. There's no way a human being with a functioning brain is this fucking stupid. Oh yeah, he also fights a senior with more years and experience than him and somehow win. The way he structured this fight was so dumb and stupid. It reminded me of that one scene from SAO where Kirito literally could not die and made up a bunch of shit as to why he couldn't die. It's that fucking stupid. I hate SAO, by the way. I'm just gonna say that. Not the one on Netflix. No. I fucking love that series. That's beautiful. I allowed punch after punch to collide with me, some causing me to fall off the position of attention. But every time I stood back up and restored my stance, Martinez screamed, "You're acting like a psycho! Be normal!" and smacked me in the head again. Onision? Normal. It's kind of like mixing oil and water. I proceeded to leg sweep him as he did the other students. As his body fell, he continued to scream over the baton being bashed into his face. In my final move, I grabbed the front of his foot. I remember feeling his toes wiggle in pain through his boot as I strategically positioned his foot so I could break his ankle. Once his foot was where I wanted it to be, I proceeded to stomp on his ankle with all my weight till I heard a snapping sound. Martinez screamed unlike anyone I've ever heard. How is he still in the fucking military? Like, how is he still in the base after essentially beating the shit out of an airman? All he gets is a slap on the wrist and a reprimand and is sent to therapy. What the fuck? Apparently the other airmen had stopped because their arms were already giving out. I was always good at push-ups. It's a part of what makes me intimidating in fights. Could you imagine fighting Onision and he just starts doing push-ups mid-fight? That's so fucking stupid. But yeah, that's the end of that chapter. Very disappointing. Chapter 17 is called Unfriendly Fire, which is what I wanted someone to do while I was reading this book to my head. All you need to know about chapter 17 is they get sent to therapy. That's it. This chapter is completely worthless otherwise. It is so worthless that I'm going to end the chapter here and have a slow fade out to the next chapter. Chapter 18 is titled, You Got What You Ordered. I can make a Joker joke where he shoots Murray in the face. I won't subject that masterpiece to this pile of shit, so I'm not gonna make it. But fuck that! Greg sees a new girl that he likes. So an incredible amount of things have happened, but first off, I want to talk about this girl, Rachel, aka Airman Norman. That's such a weird name. Airman Norman. So fucking weird. Oh god, another one. And you're right, I'm pathetic. I bounce from woman to woman and move extremely fast with them. I get it. Really, I'm just another defective product of this ridiculous just like you. My point is that there is no point in pretending I don't have basic human needs. Be realistic. This has to be satire. This has to be satire 100%. There's no fucking way a human being actually thinks like that. This has to be satire. Anyway, Greg has a new prey that goes by the name of Rachel, or as Greg has dubbed her, with the most misogynistic and racist nickname I've ever heard, Booty. Why? Well, he couldn't have worded better himself. So this girl, Rachel Norman, I call her Booty. If you saw her, you'd probably understand why. God damn! I want to kill myself. I actually really do. After reading this book, I actually just want someone to press my head up against the curb and you just repeatedly stomp on it. I wonder why, Greg. I can't wait to hear why. She came to our base only a few weeks ago and we immediately connected. She's not my race. Jesus fucking Christ. In fact, she's the first girl I've been with that has a different skin color than me. But God, we literally wreck each other when we're alone. So Greg is a misogynist, a racist, and stereotypes people. Good to know. Why'd you have to call her Booty, Greg? Like, that's my one problem. Why the fuck do you have to call her Booty? Just because she has a nice ass? Or is it because she's black? This chapter is a train wreck. So much so that I had to listen to the audiobook version of it. And even then, I felt like clawing my eyes out. In this chapter, we get introduced to Austin, aka Raven. Wow, so fucking edgy. Remember that kid's arm I broke back in high school? Well, that was Airman Austin. Remember that kid's arm I broke back in high school? But what Airman Austin was doing to Airman Norman was even worse. Calm down, Greg. Not everyone you see, you need to hate. So after this, Arthur apparently woke up in a hospital bed handcuffed after ripping out one of Austin's eyes. I'm not shitting you. And he gets praised for it. Like, by the lieutenant! Which is insane! But it's Greg's book, so whatever the fuck it happens. Fucking unicorns could be flying and I wouldn't give a shit. Out of all the significant fights I had been in, a large portion of them were against people who had just sexually assaulted someone. The one with Martinez was the result of my bloody nose and my father. Well, he shouldn't have choked me, I warned him. But those aren't sexual assaults! You just beat the fuck out of them because they were a bit too mean to you. You poor fucking baby. And that's how this chapter ends. It's bad. It's all bad. There's not been a single good thing in this book that I liked. It's all bad. A lot of military stuff happens that I'm not really interested in, so we can just skip that. Also, Rachel gets a new roommate and it's Corey. Ooh, shocker. Anyways, there's some sort of character development going on with Greg's girlfriend and all that uninteresting shit. And that's the end of that chapter. If they have a threesome, if Corey, Rachel, and Arthur have a threesome, I'm gonna fucking shoot myself. I'm not joking. I'm gonna throw myself off a fucking bridge. Chapter 20 starts off with Greg using the wrong word in this sentence. It's supposed to be plain instead of plain. What the fuck? This would have been overlooked by me if it wasn't for the fact that in the literal next paragraph, he wrote it correctly. You can't be this stupid and write a book, but I guess it's possible. Everything's possible, I guess. Corey laughed at how silly I looked and went back inside. As I walked in the door, I could see Booty laying on my bed in a provocative fashion. Booty said in a alluring tone, "Hey Arthur." I smiled, somewhat confused, and asked them both, "How have you guys been?" Out of nowhere, Corey said, "Rachel wants us to have a threesome." I froze in place. I was an absolute loss for words. I want to fucking die. Take me out back and liquidate my spine with a slug in my head. Just do it. But this chapter, oh no, it has a twist. See, Greg gets cucked, or I mean, Rachel and Corey turn out to be gay and fall in love with each other. Good for them. Amazing marriage. Honestly, probably the best decision in their life, considering that they're dating someone like Onision, so I guess this deserves an F in the chat for when Arthur found out that both of his GFs are gay and left him. This deserves an F in the chat. Can we get an F, please? I hope I edited an F in the back of my... Hopefully. God, I hope. Chapter 21 starts with this passage. A couple months have passed since my last entry. Things between Corey, Booty, and I have been pretty amazing. There are very few communication barriers between the three of us, and absolutely none between Corey and I. Wait a fucking minute! I thought you and Rachel were over! Like, she didn't want none of your stank dick. Why the fuck are you still talking to Corey? What the fuck? Corey is with Booty, or I guess it's time I start calling her Rachel, as that seems to be what Corey respectfully prefers I call our girlfriend. And I'm with Rachel too. Oh my god. It's only after Corey, a woman, started dating Rachel is when Greg or Arthur suddenly has respect for Rachel. Like, what the fuck? If it were a guy, Greg would have ripped his eye out just like Austin. He would have done it. No doubt. There's no real physical romance between Corey and I because that's just how being gay works for most people. No, it's not, Greg! It's because both of these girls are smart and they don't want none of your stank dick, mate. They don't want none of your stank dick, mate. Anyways, Corey and Rachel are gay in public and someone is like, "You can't be gay, you're going to hell!" To which Arthur, and I shit you not, kicks the fuck out of this guy. Like, absolutely destroys him for no other reason than this guy, you know, being a bigot. Alright, I don't like bigots as much as the next person, but you can't just murder a guy in public. He then talks about his weight for literally no reason, and the fact that he weighs 80 kilograms. No one questioned this, and no one asked for it, so if Greg said it, I can only assume that it's fake. The rest of the chapter is fucking boring and stupid, so don't even bother reading it. Like, seriously, this entire chapter was kind of useless otherwise. I could say that about the whole book, but you know what? We're just going to leave it at that. Chapter 22 is titled Their Hate for the Harmless. And I know I've dragged on the book chapter titles a lot, but this makes no fucking sense and has no context to the rest of the book, and I do not understand this title. I seriously do not. It has nothing to do with the chapter. I tried my hardest. It has nothing to do with it. The chapter starts off with Corey being discharged from the military for being gay. Arthur then has this thought about his fellow airmen, and it amuses me that this kind of person is considered mentally sane to be in the military. It's only in his fantasy books that he considers himself mentally sane. Otherwise, he'd be in a straitjacket somewhere. My violence is a cry for help. Violence most always is. I'm a desperate man on a path to nowhere. I can't lose Corey. I don't want to lose Rachel. I can't win. What about Ashley? What about her? Or did you already forget about her because she's not in the fucking room? And because she's not in your dick strike zone, huh? Anyways, this chapter was boring and useless. Honestly, it was just completely useless. Don't read this chapter. Wow, I'm starting to see a theme coming from a lot of the end chapters of this book. All of them are just useless. You can skip all of them, and holy fuck. This chapter literally only served to boost Greg's ego even further. I can't believe that's even possible, but it happens. Chapter 23 starts off with Arthur ripping out someone's teeth because fuck it. What are the consequences in a fantasy world? Fuck it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Speaking of fantasy world, Greg did one of the greatest moves in male history and married Corey so she can become an army wife, so she can live with Rachel. I shit you not. The man cucked himself. I know a lot of people don't like me using that word, but he literally did it. I'm sorry, I can't help it. He fucking cucked himself. Oh, Noble, you're using the word cuck and simp. Oh, it's so cringe. Shut the fuck up. If you've been reading what I've been reading, shut your mouth hole. There is no other way to describe Onision other than those two things. After that, 4 men came into Rachel and Corey's room to molest them and rape them. But Arthur pulls out this John Wick moves and kills every single one of them. Pow, pew, pow. Nope, he dies. He actually fucking dies. I'm not joking. He just straight up dies. I guess you could say the plot armor ran out. Who the fuck knew? And then he just fucking dies. Oh my god. This book it's just pure animal feces stuffed into a fucking tree. This is so bad. Like, this chapter is just terrible. Holy fuck. We're almost done though. The next chapter is the last one. So thankfully it's over. Thankfully. Chapter 24 has an interesting, but not really, twist to it because we're reading it from the perspective of Corey instead of Arthur, which I don't really understand because this is Arthur's journal. How was she able to write in it without, like, she never knew about the journal, right? She never knew about the journal. She never knew Arthur wrote in the journal. I'm confused. There's also something in there about Arthur being molested as a child by his dad. It's just randomly thrown in there for no fucking reason. Like, literally no fucking reason. It's just thrown in there. Also, there was no funeral for Arthur, so I guess Greg just forgot to write it in and write in what his dad felt about his literal son dying. So, what the fuck am I reading? It's almost done. I just gotta get through this chapter. Ooh. Arthur was buried in a military graveyard. Many people called him a murderer, others a hero. Whatever he is to the world, to me he will always be the only man I've ever loved. I'm gonna give this to Greg. The closing sentence for this book was way better than the last one. Holy fuck. But honestly, that's not saying much. That's like comparing poo-poo and caca. But that's the end of that book. Holy fuck. We got through it. I got through it. I lost a few brain cells, but I got through it. If I had to describe this book in one sense, and don't worry, I will, the whole book felt like a waste of time. It felt like it kept dragging on, and it was a massive waste of time. Overall, I think this book had some improvements over the first one, but that's not saying much. Even then, I still hate this book to its very core. It's so bad. Do not read it. I'm 100% positive about this. Go read something else. Go read fucking Harry Potter or some shit. Go read fucking Bananas in Pajamas. Go fucking read that. I don't even know if that's a book. It's probably a book, but just go read it. Again, to reiterate what I said in the first book review, I'd rather watch Space Jam twice than read this book again. It's so fucking bad, and I hate it. Oh yeah, that's also going to be a running joke in the next book review, which thank you all for watching the other book review. We made it to 30,000 views, and that was pretty good. I actually did ask for 10,000 likes, and I will do all the other books. But honestly, 30,000 views, that's good. It's amazing. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Sorry this book review has taken a while to come out. It took a while to edit, so thank you all so much. I want to thank everybody who helped me in this book review for reading the book, giving me information about the book. Link in the description down below to a lot of other book reviews about this book, so go ahead and read that. Don't buy this book. You can find the audio version, the audiobook version of it, and you can read the book for free. I don't know why you want to do it. They're wastes of time. Don't read this book. But that's going to be it for me. Hopefully in the next one, we will be doing the other book review. So yeah, this has been Reading Shitty Books with Noble. Stay sane, because I most certainly have went insane trying to read this book. That's going to be it. Bye. I'm gonna press the button. And I'm gonna go down very slowly. Pretend like it's an elevator. Hi, you still here? It's like 20 seconds left before the video ends. So I mean, you could just go. Okay, I'll just put the mic down. I'm just going.
With the cash, yeah, you know it's still a dream. Never kissing ass, even when I cut my scene. Every girl I know just wanna be hugging me every day. Yeah, you know just what I mean. Welcome to my life, welcome to a new time. No more complicated situations in my mind. When I come back, guess who they wanna see every day. Yeah, you know just what I mean. Here's a happy song for ya. Hard to hear when everyone adores ya. Serious guy with a bunch of mommy issues. Just not tonight, even though I brought tissues. Hope you respect.